There we go. Hey everybody, my name is Cooper. Welcome to Motivational Monday. So glad you guys are here. Um, Guys, I am excited about today. So the whole point, you're probably wondering what the heck is Motivational Monday. The whole idea behind it is that we open up God's Word, we spend a few minutes and just talk about what God has to say to us. And so today I'm doing that to you and bringing it to you because here's the truth. I know these past few weeks have probably been difficult, maybe really boring or hard, and you've got a lot of questions. Um, and my hope is today that we can just find some encouragement in God's Word. And beyond that, I hope you can learn, too, a little bit about what it looks like to open up God's Word on your own and learn about who God is and who He says that you are. So a couple things that I just want to give you to encourage you as you open up the Bible on your own, which is really the goal here, is one, I think a mistake that I made when I was younger, when I would open up the Bible, I would always look at it as a book. So I would start with the first page, right? I'd start with Genesis and read it like a normal book. But I think it's actually better to picture the Bible as more of a library of books, and you can pick and choose which book you want to read from, as opposed to reading it from left to right, which you can do. I just think that it's a little bit easier if you pick and choose. Um, and so that's number one. Two, I think it's always important that we pray before we open up the Bible, before we read anything that God has for us, and just ask that God teaches us something new about who we are, about who He is, and about the truth that we find in His Word. And three, I think it's good to have a good place to start from. So we are trying to help you out with that. We have these daily devotionals that it's called Thirst. You can download them. The link is in the description below. There's one every single day. It's short and easy. It gives you a place to start. It helps prompt a few questions. I would recommend going there. Um, and when I do my quiet times, when I open up the Bible, I usually journal and not jot down some notes. And this morning, I actually did that. I opened up the Bible to a verse, and I jotted down some notes, and I learned some things, and I recorded that whole time that I did that, and I kind of talked out loud kind of what I was thinking. So I'm going to show you that video. Hopefully it is helpful to you. It is only about 5 to 6 minutes long, and so I want to encourage you to follow along. If you have a Bible, go grab one. If you got a journal or a pen, grab that too, and just kind of follow along and hopefully you can walk through, follow my thoughts as I was learning about the Bible, and hopefully you can learn a little bit too. If you find something interesting that is happening while you're watching this, throw a little emoji light bulb into the chat, and we'll talk about it. So let's sit back, let's check this out, grab your Bible, and let's watch.
All right, guys, let's jump right into it. Today we are looking at Philippians 4:13. This is a verse a lot of us know. Normally we'll look at the verse that's in our daily Devo so that we can kind of follow along and you can learn as we go. But today we're going to look at this verse because I just thought, let's kick off Motivational Mondays with something encouraging but also challenging. This verse right here is challenging to me because for the majority of my life, I believed it to mean something that I don't think is actually true. We see this verse everywhere. We see it in Instagram profiles. We see it quoted before sports games. We see it quoted by athletes. Like, it is just a verse that it seems incredibly encouraging, but also it's somewhat misleading. It says this, I am able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Man, it sounds awesome. I could go climb Mount Everest right now because of Christ who strengthens me. I could go to that football game and I would win it because it's Christ who strengthens me. Unfortunately, I don't think that is the purpose of this verse, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And the way that we can find out that that's not the purpose of this verse is by looking at something called context. It's this idea that when we don't want to look at just a verse by itself, we want to look at the full story. We want to know the full story. So let's check out the few verses before Philippians 4:13. Read these with me. I rejoiced in the Lord greatly because once again you renewed your care for me. You were in fact concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it. I don't say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself. I know both how to make do with a little, and I know how to make do with a lot. In any and all circumstances, I have learned the secret of being content, whether well fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need. I am able to do all things through him who strengthens me. All right. So the first thing I like to do whenever I read a verse or a passage is to highlight the things that stand out to me. Highlight the things that stand out to me. So something that I saw kind of repeated a lot through this was the author saying he learned to be content. He knows how to do this. I know how to make do with a lot. I have learned the secret. What in the world is the secret? Someone tell me what the secret is. I want to know. And I am able. So a lot of I's. I have learned. I know. So already just from that, you learn that the author is a learner. He wants to learn and grow and know things. So the first question I have is, who is the author? What's the context that he's writing this whole thing in? Like, I want to know a little bit more about what we're reading. If you have one of those Bibles that maybe it's a study Bible, or if you open up to the beginning of a chapter, it gives you some additional info, you would learn, which I just did this, you would learn that the author is Paul, and you would learn he's writing it from prison. Now, knowing those two things, this verse is already different again. We know that Paul is writing this from prison, so when he says things like, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, okay, so he's rejoicing in God even though he's in prison, and he's not saying this out of need. He doesn't need this thing, but he's just sharing that he has learned. He has learned what it looks like to be content in whatever circumstances, including prison. He knows how to make do with a little bit, and he also knows how to make do with a lot. So he's been in situations where he has a lot of money or a lot of things, and he's been in situations where he doesn't. He's been poor. And then he says, in all of those circumstances, I have learned the secret of being content. Whether well-fed or hungry or in abundance or in need, again talking about being poor or rich, he is able to do all things through Christ that strengthens him. So what is this secret? I think the secret's here. That Paul rejoices in the Lord regardless of the situation that he's in. Now, we spent like 2 minutes in that, and we already learned a lot more about this verse than we knew before, right? Because now when we read, I am able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me, we know that Paul is sharing, I can endure whatever comes my way while I'm in this situation because God is on my side. I am with God. I rejoice in God. I turn to God. He's not saying that I can do anything. He's saying, I am able to do things through him, through Christ. Because of Christ, I am able. And I think for us today, in the situation that we're in, this verse is encouraging because we can endure. Paul endured prison, and we can endure in the situation that we're in too. We are probably lonely. We are bored out of our minds. We don't know what to do. We don't know. Things are different. Am I going to get to do 8th grade graduation? Am I going to, is summer break going to be different? Are we going to have school? There's all these questions and these unknowns. I think that this verse is incredibly encouraging because we can endure anything because of him, because we're rejoicing in him. What's beautiful is even though that this time is hard, I have also seen a lot of beauty come out of the time that we're in. I've seen families spend more time together. I've seen us being creative with our time, going outside and going on walks and slowing down in the.
All right, guys, that really was me this morning. That was me walking through my quiet time. Philippians 4:13 challenged me. You know, it's one of those, like I said, it's just one of those verses that we know, we've heard, but it has so much more. And I think a lot of times when we open up the Bible, God has so much more that he wants to show us, and we just have to be open to what he has for us. And so I would challenge you and encourage you to jump in on your own into the Bible, to open up God's Word, to check out devotional that we have for you. I really think that it can help you grow, especially when we've got a little bit more free time than we normally do. We aren't going out on Friday to watch a movie, and so maybe if we take some of that extra time we have and fill it with opening up God's Word on our own, man, we would grow so much. We don't have we have Youth Night Live and stuff, but we don't have JHM and we don't have life groups like they traditionally are happening. And so, but what we do have is a bigger opportunity than ever to grow on our own, and that may actually be more beneficial to you than even some of the things that we normally do. So I would challenge you to open up your Bible on your own, learn and grow. God has something incredible for you. And so my hope that today is that you were just encouraged, because here's the thing, I just pray that we put our reliance on God, because when we do that, then we can be content with where we are, even when things seem insane and things seem crazy. We can be content in who God is. So, it was short, it was quick, but I hope you feel motivated and I hope you feel encouraged. That is the point of what Motivational Monday is. Let me pray for you, and then we're gonna head out. Jesus, I just pray for our junior high students. I pray for JHM. I just pray, God, that we are pursuing you, that we are people that find contentment in who you are. God, I pray that we're people that go to your word and that we open it up and that we grow from learning about who you are and who you say that we are, Jesus. I pray for everyone that is confused or scared about where we currently are, Jesus. I pray that you bring them peace and contentment, and that we can grow in our relationships with you. Jesus, we love you, and in your name we pray. Amen. Guys, we love you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, hey, we've got a full calendar. Tomorrow is Tabletop Tuesday. Don't want to miss it. Just a bunch of fun, silly games that you get to play along with me, Haley, and Michael. We're going to be playing. It's going to be a blast, so you definitely want to be there. Wednesdays, we've got Youth Night Live and Life Groups. Thursday, we got another episode of Thoughtful Thursday. And Friday, we are back here on with some Fortnite. So, jump in with us. Have some fun. We will see you tomorrow.